Oh, we're live.
Oh, we are. Oh, sorry. Hello and welcome to Good, Bad, Ridiculous. And before Mel gets a word, and I have to say, Mel, I'm impressed. I officially announce you as an Ulta Nariel. You are brown on the inside. Uh, just a little backstory. We went to this place called Burns Road, Food Street in Karachi, which to our viewers, listeners in Mumbai is like Cow Gully, but extremely busy. Like, Cow Gully into five. And Mel braved it with all our other Australian colleagues, but she's the only one whose guts could handle the food. It was brilliant food. Everybody enjoyed the food, but a lot of them woke up with runs. Uh, she didn't. I saw her at breakfast this morning and she was beaming. And so officially, you are an Ultanari.
Ultanarian, thank you. My brown insides. My favourite comment was Peter Lawler, who did say that he was feeling more T20 than tests because the runs were flowing freely, but he wasn't going for 10 and over. And on that note, let's get on with the show. Roll that Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Good, the Bad, and the Ridiculous on day two here at Karachi. It was a grind today, and we're going to talk a bit about that, of course, but I'm a bit tired. That, like, I'm trying to pump myself up for this.
It wasn't that boring a day of cricket. No, I actually enjoyed it. It was hardcore Test cricket in the subcontinent, and we have plenty to talk about. So maybe we can jump into the nomination.
Let's get into the nominations.
It's one of our regulars, Arpit. Hello, Arpit. At Cricket for Sarcasm says good hard grind. And you mentioned hard grind already by the Aussies, which will be useful on their next tours to Sri Lanka and India. Very good point.
Oh, well, yeah, it is. And, well, actually, we've just been talking to Alex Carey, and you did ask him if the way about it today might be a good blueprint. I did know. See, I listened to your questions. Was better than mine. And that is, I mean, you sort of got to remember, I know that there were people getting frustrated in Australia. I sometimes feel like, too, Australian cricket fans are so used to mostly watching Australia play cricket in Australia. Maybe a bit in England where games move quickly. South Africa, they haven't sort of played cricket much in the subcontinent over the past several years. So it just moves at a different pace. And I think for a lot of us as, audiences who don't watch a lot of it, it obviously seems slower. But it really could just speed up massively over the next couple of days. So sort of towards the end of tomorrow, and all of a sudden, it could be a completely different test match after that. So I think sometimes it's us being not used to it, and Australia are getting used to it.
They are, and I thought they did incredibly well in mastering these conditions. Pat Cummins spoke about this before they arrived here, that it was key that we played the long game. There will be times when you're scoring at 2 and 0 and not 3 and 0, and you have to be okay with it. And that's what they've done. It's all about occupying the crease when it's best for batting and not let Pakistan into the game. So, and you have to, it is a 5-day test in this part of the world. Very rarely do you get very early finishes. Either the games finish in a day and a half, like it seems to be happening in Bangalore, or you have these long drawn out games where things start happening much quicker, much later. And I think Australia played this game perfectly. And you're right. I mean, this is going to hold them in great stead as they move forward to, different challenges in Sri Lanka and even more different challenges in India, maybe by the time they get to India. And considering the pitches we have seen in India in recent years, especially when Australia toured, maybe they might have to go back to playing the game in a way where they finish in 3 days. But for now, I think they've done perfectly.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like our dinner on Burns Road last night. It's like there's a slow burn, and then hours later, there's an awful lot of action.
Not for me, but yeah.
For me, for some of our colleagues.
Some of our. Anyway, we move on to Arshad at Harshad 200, 204. He has 3 nominations, but also a comment which I am really looking forward to reading. But to start with, his good is Pakistani spinners' economy. Yeah, I guess, look, I thought Sajid Khan really redeemed himself.
Yeah, he got a lot better, didn't he?
He did. And I think he's really had a tough series. Australia have gone after him early. He's one of those kind of old school off spinners who gives the ball a lot of very slow in the air. He doesn't have too many variations in terms of trajectory and speed. I thought he adjusted well later in the day, and he bowled those dry overs. He bowled that incredible spell where he went on for 20-25 overs non-stop. But yeah, I thought the spinners do deserve a pat on the back.
Absolutely. I thought they did better today generally. Um, I think that the slow economy rate may not just be to do with the spinners. I think it's not been as easy to bat out there as maybe everyone thought it was. It's certainly not as easy to bat out there as it was at Rawalpindi. So I do think it's been hard work for the batters, and that's helped as well. That doesn't take anything away from the spinners. I think that's a little factor too.
Yeah, very much so. And his bad is the pitch, and but I still think it could well be a result pitch. I still have a lot of hopes on this pitch. And our great colleague Adam Collins spoke about the aerial shot of the pitch that they showed in the last session. And the cracks are beginning to develop. There have been a few balls which have kept low, and I think there's been so much talk about spin, Mel. I'm sure you'll agree. The uneven bounce is going to come into play a lot more as this game progresses.
Yeah, and just interesting to see how much footmarks come into things as well. Just how much that things might start to crumble and more rough. We know that the Australians were expecting that, the way they were scuffing everything up beforehand, and a couple of them walking below have sort of indicated that they think that as well. So again, I don't think we can. You can't necessarily judge, but the Rawalpindi sort of stayed the same the whole way along the 5 days, and that was one of the reasons it got the below average rating, because it just didn't really change. But we'll see. And that was over 5 days. This is over 5 days. We might be looking at a really different game this time in 2 days.
Very much, maybe in a day's time.
Yeah.
And we will come to your ridiculous nomination, Asha. Then there have been a few nominations about the horns. But before we go there, Mel, I think we should maybe tag this as the sweetest nomination we've ever received. It does have to do with the horns. And Arshad writes, I came with my father to watch the match today, his first time at a cricket stadium. And after many years, he actually watched cricket. But the horns were too much for us.
It's also the helicopters too much. That's a sign, that's the security. That must mean the teams are about to leave. We've got quite used to that. He's over, you can see the rotors, man.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it a helicopter or a helicopter?
Look, to all our Indian viewers and listeners, especially for those of you who went to state board schools like I did, it's a helicopter. It's not a helicopter. Come on, it is a helicopter. That's what we were taught in school.
It sounds like something that we could have eaten on Burns Road last night. A really spicy helicopter.
Well, whatever we ate did spend a lot of people into a spin. So, no, I mean, I'm with you. The horns are quite something. And for me, it's been almost a throwback to the time I covered and watched cricket in the subcontinent. And it used to be extremely noisy, the crowd. But the vuvuzelas were kept away from India, thankfully. But this is a new experience for me. It really does feel like I'm spending many nights in a highway motel, where there are these trucks just buzzing past, honking away.
I don't think anyone can hear us. We're sorry. It's the helicopter. The damn helicopter.
It's a kofta.
Okay. And then let's just read out the next nomination, because this one really made me laugh. And no lot made me laugh today.
Yes, it's from Dave at Davey 0411, and his ridiculous says the fact that the crowd can put up with the horns all day without punching anyone and puts a horn to their mouth is the most ridiculous nomination today. I think, yeah, it is. I saw some of the PCB officials argue amongst themselves, and some journalists as well, about who let these horns in. And then one of them pointed to someone and said, hey, you've been making a killing by selling all these horns, don't lie. So maybe it's an inside job.
I think we could seriously be talking about ice cream. And no one's going to know. It's fine. You can go. Thank you. Mr. Helicopter. Okay. Shall we battle it? I think he's moving.
I think he's moving. It is. I mean, Dave's next nomination is a good nomination. It says the mute button on my TV so I can stop listening to the horn. It feels like the helicopter has put the mute button on us. I don't know how much of us you can hear, but I mean, at least there's one pretty face on camera that you can admire, and you just have to contend it with me and my moving hand till the helicopter moves away.
Ah, he's going. He's going. Oh, that was almost as annoying as the pawns. Close second.
Well, yes.
The pawns.
We come to All Sports Considered. Thank you. You were on yesterday as well. At All Sports Can says good. Alex Carey making important runs when chance of Australia sub 400 total. Bad Greens forward defense. Ridiculous line throwaways. Best chance of 50.
We're just getting the thumbs up from some quite scary looking security. Yeah. Scary but friendly, like scary in a good way. You wouldn't mess with them. But yeah, they're checking this out. Maybe because I waved at them.
Yeah, I think that's the reason, yeah.
He's coming back! He's coming back!
But no thanks to Mel. See, this is what happens. Comes to Pakistan, waves at everyone, and then everyone wants to have a conversation with them, whether they're looking on the road or whether it's a helicopter in the sky.
It's live! We're live! Okay, so first one on this. Carey making important runs. Yes, that's really good because I do like the stat that the last time an Australian cricket scored a century was Brad Allen in 2013. So that's been a long time. His second half century. There is. He's probably how he goes with the gloves later in this match is probably more important than those runs. But I think the thing with Alex Carey is that there is some pressure there with Josh Inglis. Some pressure there with Josh Inglis. It's not like he's come in, lay down Mazaire. He's going to have that role for like the next 5 or 6 years. We don't know. He might, but there's some competition there, which is not a bad thing. So it was good to see it. A shame for him that he fell just before he fell. He's had a week of falling, really, hasn't he? Falls into a pool, falls short of a century. I might use that in my piece.
You can start with it, Mel. It's better than your ouchie yesterday. But yeah, I mean, look, I think especially when you have a younger man vying for that spot, like Josh Inglis, so many people talking him up as being the next big thing when it comes to Test wicket keeping. There was pressure on Alex Carey, and like he said, he's not played enough red ball cricket in the last few years. Like it's this irony that ever since he was just touted to take over from Tim Payne eventually, his opportunities just started getting limited because he was constantly part of the white ball setup. So he's gone from test match to test match since he became a test wicket keeper. So yeah, it's an important knock for him. It'll give him that confidence that he does belong in this level, and some tough tours coming up as well. And to have someone like Alex Carey down the order in the subcontinent, sweep the ball really well and get the scoreboard kicking is a boon. So good knock for Alex Carey. 100, well, dropping in the pool compared to getting out to Babar Azam on 93. I don't know which one's more embarrassing.
No match for Baba.
Exactly. The bad Greens forward defense. Look, I think Cam
It's
Green.
the big plonky Shane Watson plonky. It's plonky. It's plonky.
It is plonky.
It's plonky.
There's a lot of plonk there.
There's a lot of him to plonk when he plonks. It's like we can feel it.
The Shamiana moves for sure.
It does for sure every time he plonks, and you so often feel that he's going to be an LBW candidate.
Yeah.
But he's lovely to watch when he comes down the ground and hits straight. He's still developing, but I feel like the plonk is worse. No, not worse, but it feels more pronounced now than when we were watching him like at Drummoyne. I don't know. I have to go back and think about that, but it does feel like it's a bit more pronounced.
I mean, look, I think he's still taking to Test cricket. Often we hear and we ourselves say, on air and like we write about it, that at times he walks out there and he thinks, wow, this is Test cricket, I need to bat like a Test batter, or I need to bat differently. I've seen a lot of him in Shield cricket. He's just such a free-flowing batter, so maybe he's still getting used to it, such a young man. But Australia are going to have invested in him. They're going to back him. And look, any time spent out there in the middle will be handy. Could he have gone a little quicker? Maybe, but it wasn't easy scoring, and it won't be easy scoring runs once the ball gets old. And by old, I mean even if it's like 9 or 10 overs old in these conditions. So I think Cam Green did a fair job hanging in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he'll keep learning. Ridiculous line through away his best chance. He looked like the he looked, the easiest on the eye all day long. He looked in no problem whatsoever. And there was this picture I remember when he had 4 men back on the leg side. I think he should frame it at home. I don't think anybody's going to set such a defensive field for Nathan Lyon ever again. But he should have got to the 50, much like Alex Carey should have got to the 100.
Yeah, it's really funny in the nets. A certain reporter jokingly had a jibe at him during the summer when he had like quite a short net session. And he's like, 20 balls, that's all I need. Night watchman, 20 balls, in, done. He's out there for more than 20 balls, so look, it's working for him.
It certainly is.
I'm not going to say that journalist was.
Sushil Dev at Sushil Dev says, too much of brotherly love between Rizwan and Smith during the potential DRS call. Would be good post-game or innings, but not on the field. I have to say this, I was going to tweet this out earlier, I forgot. But I think I've never seen a cricketer get hugged more often than Mohammad Rizwan gets hugged. And people are constantly putting an arm around him, whether it's his own players or even the Australians, even in training. This morning, Adam and I spotted Usman and Rizwan.
Yeah.
Usman and Rizwan walk off, speaking in Urdu. Of course, Adam didn't pick up the Urdu with me, but something. Adam starts picking up Urdu. But, he's such a friendly cricketer, such an affable cricketer. No surprises that people want to be around him. But I don't think it's a bad thing.
I've just put this in my diary piece, which you can see on sportingnews.com after you finish reading Bharat's pieces on Cricket Buzz and my pieces on Sporting News Australia as well. But this has been the friendly games, right? Yeah, there's been a lot of, and including beforehand, the Pakistani players love imitating Steve Smith's leads. Like you had Dave Warner and Shaheen Shah Afridi like naughty schoolboys running past the keep off the pitch sign to have a sneaky little peek at the pitch under the covers. And I don't know, I think there's something in that they're so aware of the significance of this series and what it means. Sort of the emotion around all of that, I think may have had a bit of an effect as well. There's been a bit of chat between, I think, Nathan Lyon and who was it?
Afridi and Khawaja have been at each other's sort of at each other's throat. Afridi's tried to get under it.
He's tried it. It's impossible to do. But so there's been a bit of chat, but a lot of it has felt quite pantomime as well. It hasn't, and I'm like okay with that. There's been some tough cricket played, everything else, but at the end of the day, it's kind of felt nice, and I like it.
Yeah, we're being rushed, not by stadium staff, but by our colleagues. But that's all right. We'll just rush through the next 2 nominations. I don't know who it's from because we haven't. But that's all right. You know who you are. Is Pat Cummins taking revenge on Pakistan after they made the Aussies grand for 2 days in Infinity Road? I don't think so. Like you said earlier, I think it's perfect, sound strategy. I expect Australia to come out and bat for a few overs tomorrow, maybe 10-15 minutes. Play mind games with your Pakistani openers. Even if you lose 2 overs, it might work in your favor. That's what I expect from Australia. I don't think there's an overnight.
No, I don't think there will be. Go out, just make as many as you can, even as quickly as you can tomorrow, because you put them out in the field again, which really annoys the team. And it's better to make runs now than it's going to be a lot harder to do it later.
Yeah.
Put them in the bank.
Always works. Babar Azam taking wicket is the best moment of the day. I mean, I have to say, I haven't seen much of Babar Azam bowl. He has a pretty clean action, very easily repeatable action for a part-time option. I've been impressed.
Yeah, that Babar Azam ball that stayed low is worth travelling halfway around the world to watch.
All right, Mel. That's Mel trying to sneak into another not just headline, on the front page of a leading newspaper. I don't know whether it's going to work. And our final nominations come from a name I recognize, Daniel Russell, who? I think he works for that other cricket website. All right, let's...
No, wait, he's the guy who I think is hanging around the press box being annoying. He wants to be a journalist or something. Has he got anything good?
Or is he the young kid who you've been trying to mentor the last few days and trying to make him into a cricket journalist?
No, I don't think that's him.
Well, all right, let's see what he has to say. Good, that one, Sajid Khan over to Khawaja. I don't know what he's talking about.
Good.
Bad, Ramiz Raja continuing to talk about pitches for 5 days old. Ridiculous how foolishly hot it is for this time of the year. Well, it's a subcontinent, it is hot. I guess it's March.
Lame nominations, Daniel
I'm
Russell.
Sorry, Danny.
Lame, Danny.
At Danny61000.
You're lame.
Clearly, you're not even amongst the top 60,000 Dannies in the world, so that says a lot. That says everything. not up to our GBR standards. I'm sorry, I'm not going to even acknowledge them.
No. But we'll give him a chance. Maybe if he works really hard, he might make it in cricket journalism one day.
Yeah, the fact that he got into the cricket press box is a start. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's time now.
We're gonna have to. Oh yeah, two. Right, my drum roll. The goodest thing of the week, a day. It's got me. Bharat, what you got?
It's very simple. Usman Khwaja walking off the ground in Karachi, where all his family members were born except him because he was born in Islamabad, and the crowd cheering, not just cheering, they were roaring, screaming out his name. They were the chants of Khwaja, 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 and I don't think anything comes close to that to being the goodest moment of the day.
That's an excellent choice. All right, time for the baddest thing of the day.
Hey!
I think the baddest thing of the day was Pakistan's fielding. I mean, it's a very cricketing thing that I picked today, but a lot of midfielders. I mean, drop catches. Shaheen Afridi led a few through his legs, and I don't know. I thought, look, yesterday, yes, we spoke about the negative bowling and it didn't help, but I don't think there was enough energy on the field today. They bowled dry overs. They kind of played along with Australia's plan. They were like, all right, you want a bad time, we'll just let you bad time. So I thought somewhere, especially as the home team, who know how to use these conditions, I thought it lacked a bit of bite.
Yeah, that's a fair one. Right. Lastly, but not leastly, it is time for the ridiculous thing of the day. But you've got all googly eyes.
Well, think about it, Mel. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. I guess we have to talk about. Think of something, Mel. I don't know.
It says it all, really. I think the ridiculous thing of the day was us trying to actually do this show with a security helicopter and two guards looking down at us.
And some of the best things I had to say, I said while the helicopter was in the sky.
The helicopter.
Yeah, but no, look, I think the fact that still tend to think of some.
I think that's it.
That's it. The helicopter really messed me up. I had something in mind, but I don't. I still think the ridiculously good thing of the day are Mel's guts. I think they have finally qualified. They've finally come of age. And now I think she can have all the masala and the spice in the world.
I'm in. We'll see you tomorrow.